Hi, and thanks for joining this new training session. We are going to discuss entity change applications this morning. So some of you have expressed the desire to go ahead and change maybe your hours of operation or to add services, what have you. You may even have, you want to change your capacity by adding rooms and classrooms. I'm going to show you how to do that this morning. Now, the edit entity change applications should not be done if you are within your 90-day time frame to expiration date of your license or certification. Okay. So what that means is if you are due to expire within 90 days for your licensing, then you will do everything that you think you would have wanted to do in an entity change application inside of your renewal. So inside of your renewal, you can add staff, you can change banking, you can change your hours, services, everything to do with your license. Okay, so we want to make sure that we focus on doing all of these changes within your renewal if you're within that time frame. Now, there are going to be some exceptions. For instance, if your banking information changes, of course, we don't expect you to wait 3 months or even a month if you have to change your financial information. Okay. So this is going to be for those special circumstances like that, but also for those that have just recently renewed and maybe have some new staff to add that weren't there during the last renewal process. And for those that have several months before they're due to renew. So when we look at the screen here, I have an entity dashboard. Okay, you will not have this up at the top. You're just going to have this with your entity right here. You see these 3 tabs here where it says management behind each. You have entity, staff, and financial management. This is where your edit entity changes are going to apply. And I mean that literally too, because each site can only have 1 application open at a time. So whenever you decide to change something outside of your renewal, it does automatically generate an application. Now, depending on what you're changing, which is most, we'll have to go to LDOE for approval. And what that means is you cannot do anything else application-wise in your account until that is returned, approved, rejected, or they need more information from you. Okay, so entity management applications too, or excuse me, entity change applications, when you submit those through, let's say you want to change your hours, you want to change how many classrooms, let's say you make five changes on various pages. Okay, if one of those requests is rejected, then the entire application is rejected. You may recall in your renewal process that we have a return to provider that allows you to provide the consultant with something that might be missing or more information. When the entity change applications are processed, that's not the case. They don't take but a few seconds to upload and to make those changes, but just keep in mind, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, because if one of those requests are rejected, then the entire entity change application is rejected. Okay, and you're already familiar with your dashboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started over here. We want to make this quick, try to keep it to about 15 minutes. All right, so we have entity management here. So we're going to go ahead and just click on entity management. Okay, now license summary page will appear. All right, so we're going to just double check our information here. And if it's wrong, just make note of it for right now, because you can make some of those changes later. Of course, you can't change your physical address. That's a different application. So let's go over the 3 application options that you do have here. And you have update my licenses, which this is the one we're going to go over today. Okay, your change of location and change of license type will also be here. These are still under construction somewhat, so please do not try to submit those without speaking to your consultants first. But your update my license has pretty much every single thing you need to change in there. The change of location would be if you're changing your physical location. And the change of license type would be if you're changing from type 2 to 3 or vice versa, okay? So these don't happen as often, so you should not need these. But again, talk to your consultant if you do need to make one of these changes. Otherwise, this is the only one that you need to concentrate on, the update my license. Okay, so we're going to click update license. And now you have your entity change information page. This tells you what LDOE has to approve and what they don't need to approve. Okay, in the top, LDOE needs to approve all of that in the top. Okay, you have your center name change, age range served, add remove services, request change in banking information, update operating hours, update service hours, and request change in capacity. Okay, and then the remaining items can be changed without review and approval, and no fees are associated. So you can change your contacts, your social media URLs, and you can change your mailing location. Okay, and once you understand these instructions, then go ahead and hit accepted down here, and then this green button will be available for you. You're going to continue to edit entity. Okay, so one of the things that I would like for you guys to kind of take heed to is if you don't have changes, then don't click on the edit buttons. You guys are going to have an edit button over here. And of course, this is a training session. So on the right side or down at the bottom, okay, just depends on which page you're on. But the edit button is what's going to allow you to edit anything here, like change the spelling. Do not make any name changes without talking to your consultant first. We want to make sure that those are all aligned in our databases, especially if you're type 3 and you're dealing with KinderConnect and CCAP. Okay, do not, you can correct a spelling and you can put some indicators on there like north, south, east, and west if you have more than one center. But let's try not to edit that if we don't have to. And again, here, you just want to make sure that your mailing address is all in there. This is the time for you to go ahead and put your URLs for your social media if you'd like. And you can also change your notification email address. Now, this notification email address actually goes to the school and center finder. So if you have not looked at this yet, go ahead and look up your school. Okay, and then click on it. And all of you will have a page that looks like this. Now, if you're type 3, obviously you're going to have the academic performance. If you are type 2 here, it'll show what license type you are, the hours of operation, and this is where that contact email is. So I just want you to take a quick look at that, and it even provides a map, which is great for your other providers and parents, because if they've reached capacity, then they will be able to quickly see who is close to them that maybe the parents would be interested in. So as in any EdLink application, you can close out of the tab and it will not close your application. All right. So I'm going to pretend that I'm not making any changes here. I don't need to make any changes on this page. Okay. I want to change my capacity, which would be on this page here. Okay. All right. So you're going to have an edit button over here on the right side bottom right here. And you're going to enter the number of buildings, the number of classrooms, and then you're going to enter a minimum age and a maximum age. Okay. Now, if you're caring for children under a year, you're going to always have a safety approved crib statement that you need to complete. Now, this is really important that you take care of this, because every time you leave your application, in other words, close out and come back, you will have to come back in here and you will have to re-sign your name electronically and date it to that current day's date. And you have to do this every time. And this is a state mandate. This is not an EdLink mistake. Okay, so if you are unable to submit for some reason, then go back to your service and hours page and check to make sure that you've completed the safety approved cribs. Now, if you don't have kids that are under a year old, then that statement disappears. Okay, notice how I just changed that. Okay, if you want to change your operating hours, you'll also have an edit button here on the right. You can click on the edit button, just like any of your other applications that you did. If you want to make changes to the days or to the time, So remember, you have this copy to all if it's easier. And then you're just going to hit the saved button down at the bottom, right next to your edit button. Okay, then you have additional services, and this also has your edit button. Most of your pages now have edit entity down here in the left side. Okay, depending on your license type, you may still have them in the bottom corner, the bottom right-hand corner, okay? But they will be very clear as to what they're for. This one over here will say edit, and this one down here in the bottom will say edit entity. And that'll allow you to change the entire page, any information on the entire page, where the edit buttons in the bottom right-hand corner will be just for sections, okay? So this is a good time for you to add any additional services if you wanted to add before care, after care, any transportation. Special needs is mandated, and since this is a training application, it wasn't in there, but you will not be able to uncheck that from your application, okay? So notice how when I selected anything that's going to, anything that has anything to do with time, it provides me another time block. So if I chose before care and after care, and my open time is 7 and I close at 5, I need to make sure that my open time here is no earlier than 7. Okay, and it'll probably run to 8 or 7:45, however long you do your before care. And the same thing here. It'll be from 4:30 to, but it has to end at 5 because this is the time that your facility is actually open. All right, and if you change your mind and say, you know what, I don't think I want before and after care, just go up and uncheck it. And then you're going to hit save again. You'll see a save and edit down here, or you're going to have a full page of it down here. You're going to hit save and continue. Okay, service and hours. Okay, so we need to change this one. Let's see, we're going to do all year long. Okay, so if you have any issues like that, and I hadn't realized that I actually changed that toggle. So if you see something like this, just look for those obvious things. This is a default. It should be at yes. Okay, so don't get frustrated. Just go through it and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. We're going to save and continue. Now, it looks like you're going through the entire application because in certain respects you are, but you're only going to change what you absolutely have to change. So in case you missed this in some of our other training, even if you don't charge anything for certain age groups, or if you don't charge anything at all, let's say you're grant funded or Head Start, okay, or even a church, you're still going to have to put a 1 in there. You need at least a 1. EdLink does not recognize 0. So even for those, if you don't take care of any children under the age of 1 or age 1, you still need to put a number 1 in any box that would normally garner 0, okay? This is a place too that you could update your registration fees if you charge registration fees. Now notice that transportation came up because I did add that as an extra service. But if there's no registration fees, then you can just say no. Okay, and if there are, you just put what the registration fee is, and you don't have to charge a registration fee at all. And you don't have to charge a registration fee for both services. Okay, so maybe I charge just a blanket registration fee, but I don't charge anything for the field trips. Okay, so I'll just leave it just like that. And even though it has a mandatory asterisk in there, it doesn't mean that we have to select it. Okay, now this looks familiar to some of you. It's asking for updated documents based upon what we changed. So we did change the number of buildings. We did change our classrooms, which means it's changing our capacity. So we do have to upload new pictures. Okay. And we have to upload our automobile liability insurance. Okay, because we did say we were going to take kids on field trips. And we need to always make sure, since I changed one of the rates, that you that you upload how you notified your parents as to the rate changes or what the current rates are. So we're going to upload these documents the same way that we've done in the past. Okay, let me just pull some here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you're going to hit browse, and then you're going to select the file. Some of you may have came in early on when we first launched EdLink, so you missed a lot of the training on how to upload the documents, or perhaps you had to do a jot form at the time. So the upload is fairly easy. You're just going to click on browse, click the file you want, and then click open, and it uploads it. Now here you can view it and make sure it's what you wanted to upload. It'll open in a new window that you can just close out. If it's not what you want, you hit the trash can. And if it is, there's no need to hit save here, because at the bottom, you're going to save and continue here. Okay, so some of you might be doing this for your banking information. Notice how, even though you have financial management here, you also have it in your entity management. Okay, so you can change, if you have more than your financial management to change, then do the entity management, because there's a lot more. You can change almost everything except for staff. Okay. If you just want to quickly change your banking information, you'll do this with just financial management tab. Okay. So we're going to go through here and make sure your bank information is in, all your routing numbers, your account numbers, anything that's requiring. Let's make sure we have all of our numbers. Yes. Okay. Now we have the direct deposit authorization form that you are going to have to download. You're going to click on this. Okay, let me open it. I'll have to pull it over for you. Okay. So you'll need to complete the direct deposit authorization form. Okay, and then you're going to scan that in. Okay, and you're going to upload it the same way you did your others. Okay. Okay, and then we get to the signature authorization. I confirm that these changes are made, or you're authorized to make these changes on behalf of your entity. And then you'll put your role, your position. Okay, and then you're going to put your date of birth. And remember, you have to be over 16 and under 100. And then we're going to save and continue. Okay, so now we have the review of the things that we've changed. So again, if you missed this over the year, if you're one of our earlier renewals, this is a list of all the changes that you made to the application. So this was what was there before. Remember when we opened that up in service and hours, there was no information under building or classrooms. This is what I put in. So this is what it was, which was nothing for some of these. This is what I changed it to. Okay. All right. So now we go down here, and if we're happy with those, we just continue on down here. Change justification. Please tell us why you wanted to change this entity information. So you were assuming that maybe you wanted to increase your capacity. So you added square footage and an extra building. Would like to increase my capacity. Okay. And just something short and sweet, but be, give them enough information to go on. Okay. I confirm that I completed all the changes needed. So I'm going to hit accept. And I'm going to submit the changes for review. And now it takes us back to your dashboard. So I want to show you where this is at. Okay. So right here, see where it says category and entity. Always look under category to see what type of application you have sitting on your dashboard. Notice it's pending because that means you've already submitted it. It could take up to 90 days. That's why you do not do these unless, or if you're too close to your renewal, it won't take that long. But just know that I guess perfection can't be rushed. You have to give them time to work through it. Okay. Now let's say you decide, I don't really need this because my renewal is coming open. I don't want to pay a couple fees and I want to be able to start my renewal. So I think I want to withdraw this, and that's perfectly fine. So to withdraw, remember all of your information is gone. Nothing gets retained. Okay. So it's a 3-step process, potentially 4, because you think about it as your first one. Now you're going to withdraw, click on the red button. It takes you to the application home, which you should recognize. Okay. And then we're going to go all the way to the bottom again and do withdraw application. Are you sure you want to withdraw the application? And we're going to click yes. Okay, and now the application has been withdrawn. Notice right there it says withdrawn. So you'll maintain receipts here, but it has in fact been withdrawn. That means that if you wanted to go ahead and do everything you did in that entity application that we just withdrew, you could do all of that inside of your renewal. Okay, and that's what I advise you to do. Now, any of your other changes, I will give you separate, create separate videos for those, except for the financial management. We've talked about that one. This one is pretty easy to take care of. So you have your CCAP and banking. Okay, you can request your CCAP to be closed here, okay, for various reasons. Okay, and your banking, change your banking information down here. These numbers will be, or excuse me, these buttons will be active for you. Okay, but you can change your banking information the same way we just went over it in your entity. You can type your information in, but you'll also be required to submit a direct deposit authorization form. All right, and you have your routing number and your account number here so that you can verify that before you start any other work down here. Okay, all right, that is it. And as far as the others, I will get you videos on those very shortly. Thank you for attending.